Matteo, where are you?
Hi Tom, today we are in the beautiful setting of Monte Carlo, where we have the incredible pleasure of meeting the legendary Pino Fazio, a renowned tennis maestro and highly respected coach of the prestigious Monte Carlo Country Club, as well as coach of the Monte Carlo Coaching Club.
Finally, I cherish the countless stories you share about your deep passion for tennis, your admiration for the beautiful city of Monte Carlo, and especially how these are enriched by the bond you have with the Maestro.
Absolutely, yes, coaching which has now evolved into a respected profession, as mental coaching has its historical roots tracing back to the sport of tennis and the emotional connections I developed with Pino Fazio, my dedicated tennis coach. Initially, my focus was primarily on the game itself, the sport, and the exhilarating challenge of personal growth that came with it. However, as I delved deeper into my studies, I began to grasp the profound context of the inner game of tennis, alongside the broader educational journey within the realm of coaching. I came to recognize its immense value by attentively observing and learning through practical experience. Furthermore, tennis offers numerous allegories that draw parallels to life's experiences, enriching our understanding of personal development and resilience. It's truly a beautiful memory, an extraordinary bond that we share, and I'm incredibly happy to introduce you to Pino. Having this informal chat with him here at the esteemed country club is a wonderful opportunity, as he is a legendary figure in his field whom we certainly can't afford to overlook. Moreover, after sharing this exciting adventure of launching a coaching club right here in the glamorous Monte Carlo, we realized that we couldn't possibly seal the deal in a better way than by interviewing him as well. This conversation promises to be insightful and inspiring for all of us involved.
Fantastic, so let's go have this important chat with Maestro Pino Fazio from the prestigious Monte Carlo Country Club.
We are here at the Country Club in Monte Carlo. I am the official maestro of the club, Pino Fazio. I have known Matteo since he was a child because I taught in Andorra, which is about 80 kilometers from here. Then I came here to the club where I have been working for 15 years, and I also take care of organizing the Master Series tournament.
Matteo likely mentioned this. We have established this Monte Carlo Coaching Club where we actively channel our energies, share insights, and engage in a collaborative study approach that is somewhat experimental, so to speak. This initiative is enriched by the unique convergence of my professional background, which is quite different from Matteo's, along with the expertise of the coach involved. We have identified the remarkable potential to transfer certain skills from the realm of sports to the business sector, as well as from military aviation to various sports disciplines. Additionally, as someone who also works as a triathlon coach, I apply these principles in training my athletes, helping them improve their performance through this innovative methodology, I also had a remarkable coach who was nationally recognized, Maestro Conti, from the charming town of Montecatini Terme. His spirit was incredibly strong. He had been a proud member of the national team during the 30s. He was tough and demanding, and if you didn't have your feet positioned correctly, well, you'd certainly hear about it. That ball was not good, even though it went in. It's not considered valid because your feet weren't properly set. Apart from these stories, we have deemed Monte Carlo as the winning point instead. We would like to know how Monte Carlo specifically fits into your extensive experience, Maestro, if you don't mind sharing that with us. You have been there for several long years, gaining experience.
In Monte Carlo, there is everything. Let's say there is an exaggerated economic disparity between the local resident, who is an ordinary person, and the tourist who arrives, spending 1,000 to 1,500 euros a night for a hotel, going out to eat for 400 to 500 euros per evening, and if I order a bottle, it costs 200 euros, and that's it. And indeed, I also have clients who come for lessons, and during the lesson, they generously give you a tip of 100 euros, but for them it's merely a small amount of 5 euros.
Certainly, certainly.
For example, this is a funny story. A few years ago, I had a client who asked me if she could take lessons with me, along with her son. I said, yes, of course, no problem. She asked me if I could give her a bit of a discount if they came all year. Well, let's see, if you come all year, when can we start? Can we start on Saturday? Otherwise, we are flying with our private plane to the beautiful castle in France.
What's the discount? I mean, maybe she was expecting astronomical prices, so she thought, let me ask for a discount, right? $1 million per lesson.
But in 100 thoughtful words, answer to who exactly is Pino Fazio? What intriguing aspects can we explore about the story of Pino?
I don't know, 100 words? I was practically born on the tennis court because my family home had a perfect view of not just one, but 2 tennis courts located in Varazze. This is especially significant since I'm originally from Varazze, which is situated near the city of Savona. I became a ball boy for the first time when I was 5 years old. They dressed me up in a Pirelli t-shirt and so on, and I had fun. I mean, it was a second category tournament, but it felt like being in a higher level tournament because we were sitting on the ground collecting balls. I continued this activity from until I was 11 or 12. All summer long, I was a ball boy, and the coach would go have a drink, so I would play with the next student. Then at 12, I started being a sparring partner, which meant the coach was always busy from morning till night, and if someone would come and ask, who can I play with? And the coach would say, with him. I used to play tennis, and he would always give me valuable tips to improve my game. Eventually, I embraced the opportunity to pursue my passion. I am an accountant by studies, and my family insisted I would take a job in a bank. However, I did not take that route, as my true passion lies in being a tennis coach. I have dedicated myself to this for an impressive 50 years, starting my journey in Genoa, then moving to Alassio, then to Andorra, and now I am here. Throughout my career, I have had the privilege of meeting dozens and dozens of people, including some prominent figures in the sport, and I have had the incredible experience of playing alongside them.
Is it true that at times you stepped in for some pros who required, the support of a third or fourth player?
Yes, this situation occurred often because in this club, we essentially have all the top players residing in Monte Carlo. As a result, there exists a relaxed and informal relationship among many of these players, allowing for easy interaction and camaraderie. This unique environment fosters a sense of community and connection that enhances both their personal and professional experiences.
I love Pino's composure, don't I? Can you hear how he speaks, right? We're also actively engaged in this situation, adopting a communicative approach to convey that everything is fine. However, my dear, it's perfectly okay to acknowledge that it's not.
If I could have chosen any job in the world, I would have loved to be a sports commentator, sharing my passion for sports.
Like you performed already for Juventus in Monte Carlo, as you were telling me earlier.
Yes, I practically took on the role because the previous director superior happened to be the UEFA representative for referees, and they were specifically in need of an Italian announcer for an important Juventus football match. So they reached out to me, and I gladly accepted the opportunity. The star players on the field included number 1, Buffon, number 2, Chiellini, and number 3, Bonucci. Additionally, the supporters of the visiting team were required to remain still for half an hour before they could leave the stadium, creating a uniquely tense atmosphere.
Has a dream come true?
Absolutely, yes, I did it. I went all the way around the expansive field and explored the locker rooms. Honestly, it was truly a beautiful experience.
This podcast that I started a couple of years ago called Tools of the Humans, and during the first season, I explore and I worked with an open canvas. Some episodes I did alone by interviewing people who I thought were prominent. I interviewed entrepreneurs, people who opened a flight school, those who traveled the world by motorcycle, my former commander who made 2 jumps from an airplane for emergencies, and then I interviewed these people on my own. I then had the opportunity to interview an experienced hypnotherapist who works in Dubai. During our discussion, we conducted a thorough and in-depth exploration of the therapeutic techniques he employs to help individuals who have experienced various psychological blocks. We delved deeper into the specific methods he offers and the transformative ways in which his clients emerge from these challenging situations, and that is why the show is called Tools of the Humans. In the captivating second season, thanks to my dear friend Matteo, I don't know if you are familiar with the beautiful story between him and me. We unexpectedly fell deeply in love during a warm and enchanting December in vibrant Dubai, and I thought to myself, why don't we begin exploring this journey together? We started interviewing some exceptionally interesting and insightful people, including one of the original inventors of Netflix. And during these conversations, we began discussing a unique language that is much more focused on teamwork, the culture of entrepreneurship, and the dynamics of team culture. Additionally, we explored how an effective leader should ideally behave in various situations. From my perspective, it's a concept I strive to apply in my everyday interactions, but Matteo, through his coaching, observes it in the diverse startups he collaborates with. It's always noticeable and impactful. We had the distinct pleasure of interviewing the remarkable dean of the Polytechnic University of Turin, a truly enlightened individual whose insights are invaluable. After our conversation, we decided it would be beneficial to also hear from Pino, especially since we had already closed the loop on various aspects of sports, particularly military high performance and the intricate field of high performance coaching. Pino's extensive research and efforts in this area have been substantial and deeply influential. Matteo, who has dedicated several years to this field, emphasized the importance of integrating sports into our discussions, and Pino has become the cornerstone of this crucial initiative, helping to bridge these diverse areas of expertise and innovation. The Monte Carlo Coaching Club was created because Matteo recognizes something special in Monte Carlo. I can't quite explain it. As a tourist, I passed through and enjoyed the lovely Côte d'Azur, but for me, Monte Carlo this summer was primarily associated with the iconic casino.
Come in April.
Pino is the #1 player for the tournament anyway, serves as the key reference point for all of Italy.
I manage the participations for people from Dubai, British, Americans. This year, the tournament has been remarkable with the presence of players like Sinner. The event is comparatively smaller in scale than other tournaments. This is primarily due to the exceptionally high influx of spectators and fans attending, making it a unique experience despite its size.
Yes, my brother who plays and has come.
One thing that is practically a service provided mainly to tennis coaches, such as those in Turin, Milan, and Florence, is that to get tickets at a special price, you need to order them in October. They can either do it directly with the organization or through me, as I work with an institution directly linked to the organization. They can get the tickets today, pay for them today, and then it's up to them if they have 5 or 10 left over, etc. However, with me, they order them in October and pay in January, so in January they can tell me, look, I need 10 less or 4 more, and I try to resolve the situation.
Total of numbers, which numbers are we talking about?
This year, I generated approximately 300,000 euros from ticket sales, which translates to around 7,000 tickets.
And what about the tournament statistics?
The highly anticipated tournament sells a total of 110,000 tickets. Well, then there are now several options available to consider.
Let's have an engaging conversation about the sport of tennis.
Yes, but this aspect is part of tennis. How can you confront a challenge in the field? When was the last significant challenge you encountered while playing on the tennis court? A genuine and exciting sporting challenge, I mean.
That is a challenge I remember that could be interesting because it was with an important character who has now been cut off, with Gipo Arpino, who was the coach of Sonego, Lorenzo Sonego. I don't know if you know him. He is ranked 30 in the world. I actually met him in Diano Marina, and after having had 10 hours of lessons, I went to play against him that evening. Fortunately, that night, I saw the ball as big as a balloon. And I beat him. In the context of the Romans, I logically paid my dues. It's not that I covered the costs for the entire day, since I was mostly participating in tournaments during the summer months. However, my main priority was to teach, which meant I had to dedicate 8 or even up to 10 hours to lessons, and then
a lot of training, of course, for...
Which, if I were to do it now, would logically lead them to subsequently admit me for a...
When you have to face a challenge, manage a particularly difficult moment in tennis effectively?
In the sport of tennis, there are often pivotal moments during a match when you find yourself grappling with uncertainty about how to effectively resolve a challenging situation. Such moments can test your skills and mental resilience on the court. Maybe something clicks inside you, or you're about to lose, and you realize how many matches have turned around when someone had the match point against them and then ended up winning. I remember one time I played against a guy who was one of my students. I went to play at 10 in the evening, 100 kilometers from home, and I found myself against him at midnight. He was leading 5-0 in the third set. And I thought, are you kidding me? You come from Andorra to Genoa and lose to me? Something clicked inside me. He probably felt the pressure of beating his teacher, and I ended up winning the match. But that's just one case. I could tell you dozens of anecdotes, but I lost a match where I had already shaken his hand.
I mean, what do you want to say?
So basically, we're talking about tournaments where there isn't a referee, right? Okay, so you play the tournament, you have the match, let's play this match. I was young, I was 17, 18, so I go to play this match. I play against a gentleman who's 45, 50 years old. I have 3 friends with me because we were supposed to go eat pizza. I play and win easily. 6-2, 5-2, match point for me. I serve, and then my friends say, well done, well done. I go over, shake hands, but no, sorry, that's not the ball. It was out. Okay, let's not argue. Let's repeat the serve, and I lost the match.
There is a fascinating book that Matteo and I have both read that it's called The Inner Game of Tennis, right?
The inner game of tennis, which we were discussing in relation to the book, is indeed somewhat of a progenitor of modern coaching techniques, yes.
Maybe there are some interesting insights to explore. Yes, I was recently given a fascinating book by Ferrero that delves into the unique aspects of tennis. I don't quite know all the details yet, as I've just started reading it. However, it discusses the concept of silence in tennis, highlighting various intriguing perspectives. On the front page, there's a striking photo of Andy Murray, who was one of the renowned Big Four players in tennis history. This book essentially examines how commentators should approach their commentary, as well as the profound silence that exists between points during a match. It should be really intriguing to dive deeper into it. I mean, there are so many compelling books out there, like those written by Agassi and Nadal, and others that capture the spirit of the game.
Both in terms of style and tennis, in a sense.
Sure, this is indeed the very first truly serious exclusive interview because Pino actively collaborated with the interviewer throughout the process. However, an in-depth interview focused specifically on Pino is something we decided to allow ourselves to pursue as it offers valuable insights into his life and work.
Happy to agree with you.
Does it ever happen that someone comes who needs to start? And do you ever think to yourself, this person won't be able to learn? I think this is a great challenge for a coach because it requires a lot of time and money to invest in teaching. And you see that there is no talent, no understanding. What do you do then?
It is essential for one to have the desire to open up, especially with children. I noticed this with kids. This morning I had 2 children, one 3 years old and one 4 years old. And the 3-year-old was eager to engage. The one of 4 who had none. Therefore, surely within 4 or 5 turns, one will hit the ball and the other will not. Adults generally comprehend that during the initial lesson, they may consistently catch the ball, but then struggle to make further progress in their skills. However, there comes a moment when, quite unexpectedly, they begin to catch everything effortlessly and then surpass their peers in advancement. Each individual's journey is distinctly unique, yet the essential takeaway is the importance of having varied learning experiences, much like in all fields of study or practice. Emphasizing this diversity in experiences is crucial for effective learning and development.
If you really don't want to fly, I can definitely help you in packing your bags. Is that correct? My instructor used to tell me, right? I want to help you. Thank you, Commander, for doing the suitcases.
I learned valuable lessons by observing carefully.
Okay.
I've never encountered a situation quite like this before. And I can tell you this, it's quite amusing, almost like a clever joke. The tennis coach from Varazzi was named Federico Barbarossa. He was always telling the story that once, during his time in the military, he and a close friend were unexpectedly stopped by authorities while on duty. They inquire of him, and who might you be? Federico Barbarossa and you, Cristoforo Colombo, and they were their real names. They were placed in jail, and ultimately the issue was resolved. He famously remarked that the forge of champions is constantly erupting, reflecting his belief in relentless effort and dedication. His jest highlighted the importance of perseverance, and it was this masterful approach that allowed his son to become a skilled master in his own right. He tirelessly dedicated himself to his craft, working every day from 6 in the morning until noon, and then again from 2 in the afternoon until 8 in the evening, maintaining this rigorous schedule until he reached the age of 75.
So make sure to watch a lot of games, observe various techniques closely, but then practice on the playing field to improve.
The main point is that nowadays, children face significantly more limitations compared to the past. We used to enjoy playing freely in the streets, yes, indeed, and the one who lost in our games had to hold the rope, yes, absolutely, while the others continued playing without any worries or restrictions.
I started like this.
I understand the stimulus. I used to play against a wall. I would stand there against my wall. My dad had made me a racket out of penfort, not a regular racket like a guitar. We would go steal balls from behind the court to find some. Yes, now you know where they go to play, either at the club or on the street. You can't do that anymore. They have it all on their phones, on computers, on iPads. It has become that way. In fact, the problem is that you see they are uncoordinated. They really need to catch up. Of course, they all eventually arrive, but
From that point onward, we maintained a certain level with all this advanced technology, right? As we mentioned during our previous conversation, Matteo, even with Jim Cook's insights, the do-it-yourself approach using YouTube has transformed how we learn. It allows us to view instructional videos or observe specific movements. In contrast, watching a tennis match back then was challenging, even on television, due to limited access.
Now, regarding sports, we say that in Italian clubs, everyone is welcome to participate, as it is a tennis school open to all skill levels. The membership fee can be as low as 50 euros a month or around 60 euros a month. It's logical to pay this fee because maintaining such facilities requires funding.
How did you arrive at Monte Carlo?
What brought you here?
In Monte Carlo, I was primarily teaching tennis in Andorra while also managing the tennis operations and activities there.
Yes, Rocci Pinamara is indeed recognized as the highest level of elevation in the beautiful region of Liguria.
I was managing tennis events, and in beautiful Monte Carlo, there was a prestigious BMW Europe tournament taking place, and it's pouring rain, okay? So they called me and asked if I could give them the covered courts to finish this tournament because there were people from Austria, Germany, Belgium, and so on.
You were prepared and took your chance?
No, listen up. They came over and played at my place. They have come back. They mentioned that they have been enjoying this very nice tennis club. Then the director called me and asked if it happened to rain during the tournament, could we possibly send the players to ensure the tournament goes on? And what happens? It's pouring, and I had Becker, Sampras, Saro, Erdinger, Muster, Rafter, all training with me. So logically, I didn't charge them anything because it was also a kind of advertising for the club. Then the director invited me here, and let's say 20 years ago, the tournament wasn't like it is now, where it runs on its own. They needed someone to do the advertising in Italy to promote the tournament, okay? So I began this exciting journey. I made a total of 12 stops in northern Italy, including vibrant Milan, historic Turin, art-filled Florence, and charming Verona, where I would bring along the tournament brochures. At each club I visited, I would encourage all the kids to play and have fun, fostering a sense of community. Afterward, I would invite 2 talented kids to participate in the tournament on the very first day of the qualifiers. This is a tradition I still uphold with Radio Monte Carlo, although I no longer take part in the animation aspect of the events. A solid relationship was established with the club's management, and I expressed to them that if they ever found themselves in need of a coach, I would be more than willing and available to step in. To my delight, they immediately reached out to me, and I began teaching tennis on Wednesdays. My commitment involved working there every Wednesday, and then, over the course of approximately 4 or 5 years, a coaching position became available. However, securing that position wasn't straightforward, because I had to carefully coordinate my schedule with my colleagues. I was unable to give private lessons while fulfilling my teaching obligations at the school, but I was fully aware of my responsibilities and made sure to fulfill them diligently. Nevertheless, while I was at the club, especially with the Italian members, they frequently inquired if it would be possible for us to have a lesson together. So I approached the director and requested permission to conduct an additional hour of lessons to accommodate their requests. Before proceeding, it's best to consult with your colleagues first. I'm currently heading to my colleagues who are all occupied with their tasks, so I'll inform you at the end who among them appeared to be the most capable. I will initiate the lesson, and if any of them become available, I will let you know immediately. I barely had time to cover the first half hour when someone approached me and said, "I have given you permission to teach, so you should go to the director." Naturally, the director then calls me and states, "Look, I have given him permission." As I am still new to this environment, I am acutely aware that I cannot afford to make any missteps, as it could potentially backfire on me, much like a similar incident that occurred to me a few years ago. We are on the courts up high. There are two courts. There is a passage between the two courts and the other two. I step outside after finishing a lesson while chatting with my client. So I wait for the other client to arrive, an Italian who is supposed to have a lesson with my colleague. He goes inside, and probably either he or the teacher made a mistake. He had two clients at the same time. But he comes out and tells me, "Pino, do 2 balls with me." I say, "Okay, look, I'm waiting for the client, and while I wait, I'm happy to help you and him. After the first ball, you can't talk to my clients. You can't interfere with my business. So I'm really sorry, my client has also arrived." Yes, but really, competition? No, it's very much no. Everyone is really scared. In fact, right now, there are only 3 of us left. None of those who left told their clients, "Look, I'm away now. You can play with someone else for a week, no problem." Because we are sending people away now, but everyone is holding on to their clients tightly because they are afraid that if they play once with you, but I would never do that. I mean, if your client comes to me once, when you come back, it's logical that the client pays.
Then one inevitably falls deeply in love with your voice, an assertive tone echoing in a truly beautiful, expansive court. I swear I've never had a tennis coach better than him.
Do you shout at athletes?
I can scream. For example, right now I'm doing on stage with children. I can shout when a child raises the racket or hits the ball out of bounds, meaning when they do things like that, I give them a shout. I pause them for a moment. I've always been calm in the sense that I try to give my all because I've seen in myself that by maintaining this character, you get better results. Then people play and say, that one is really good, right? And there you have to thoughtfully consider that perhaps it's better if I present myself as a bit more gruff. But generally speaking, it's important to maintain a balance in communication and approachability.
Do you remember the 2 or 3 phrases you always used, like when you say, "Go ahead, la, come on, yeah, you're doing well"? What is it that...
Now I speak in French.
No, what you were telling me about Andorra earlier, what was it exactly?
Vieni, dai, forza, muovi ste gambe.
Our lunch today is a transition to the next one we will have.
Thank you very much for this virtual meeting.
Now it worked.
Working at a beautiful age, nearing retirement. Congratulations on reaching this wonderful milestone.
But the tennis coach is not retiring. I knew that. Tennis coach does not go.
They will send me against my will, unfortunately. Here we are at the prestigious Monte Carlo Country Club, which is located in the beautiful country of France. And it means there are established French regulations that must be adhered to, and the director is keen on following these guidelines. We should have departed by now, as I have just celebrated my 70th birthday.
Brilliant. No, I will not seat on the plane at 70 years old. I honestly don't think they will allow me to board.
The director worked until he was 82. A colleague worked until 85 and practically died on the job.
Yes, even my teacher shared the same love as you do.
Many young players are getting ready to become coaches, including former Davis Cup players. They need to become masters. However, the point is that, for example, I have clients that I've already mentioned to them, "Look, I've been leaving for a year," and they say, "Yeah, okay, we'll manage on our own." I come here, I don't care about playing with someone else because, by now there's a friendship or clients who might invite me to dinner twice a year, or we meet for an aperitif together, or they come to watch the tournament, we watch the game together. A relationship is created. For example, here are 3 friends who come twice a year, play doubles, and then we go out to eat together.
It's truly a delight. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, dear Pino.
Thanks a lot. Ciao.
Wow, this captures the excitement and surprise we all feel about the topic we've been exploring together. Indeed, 1 hour is simply not enough time. It truly isn't adequate to hear all the fascinating stories that exist. A career that has spanned so many years on the tennis courts must have been an incredible adventure, not only discussing the famous personalities who have graced the sport, but also highlighting the countless ordinary people who began their journey playing tennis. The stories are truly endless, and as you eloquently mentioned at the very beginning, the allegory of tennis represents life in many ways, as well as the applicability of certain concepts and essential skills of a tennis coach that can be seamlessly transferred to the realms of business and coaching, which you also undertake as a profession. Each experience adds depth and richness to our understanding of both tennis and life.
Professional coaching in the business world indeed has its roots in the methods and techniques developed in sports coaching. Bill Campbell, before becoming the trillion-dollar coach and the coach of Steve Jobs, played soccer and was a soccer coach. In short, coaching owes a lot to tennis because the first book on coaching comes from tennis, The Inner Game of Tennis. Then, with John Whitmore, coaching is described by starting to outline the internal dynamics of the inner dialogues that a tennis player experiences. Therefore, going back to the origins and retracing the evolutionary path of a profession is essential for understanding it, realizing what it can achieve. Similarly, in life, you need to see it done, you need to train, you need to have the desire, and you need to manage your inner dialogue.
We are incredibly fortunate to have the talented Maestro Pino Fazio as a valuable member of our team. Stay tuned for upcoming events and opportunities, as we will certainly have more chances to engage with him and listen to his insightful thoughts and perspectives.
It was truly a pleasure having Pino with us. Goodbye for now, Tom, and see you soon. Thanks, everyone.